figure I'd start today's video out the end of the driveway. Already been going for a little while. Dragged over the generator today. I got a regular battery charger on the tractor. I got the torpedo heater going, warming up the tractor. I got a test light. I got a multimeter, some tools with me today. So we'll see if I can get that thing fired up today and get everything in the dumpster smashed down and whatnot. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's awfully loud over there with the generator right now and the torpedo heater going. So I might take a couple of videos over there, but it might be a little loud. So I'll apologize for that. Hopefully you can hear my annoying voice over the noises in the background. Here we are at the moment. It's pretty nice, the generator. It's propane and gas, so you can run it off propane. So that running off propane, full spot to warm my hands by the exhaust. Got the torpedo heater going over there, blowing on the motor. I took the hood off because the hood tipped back and it's like impossible to get in here. And yeah, so there's the glow plugs down in there. So we'll do a little testing and see what we can find. Hopefully I can get this thing up and running. Yeah, she's running, but she ain't charging. I kind of figured that was part of the problem. So yeah, so the battery is probably drained just enough where the booster packs just weren't charged good enough to help it along anymore. So I had the charger on it for a while. I disconnected all the glow plugs and tested them all. They're all testing great. And yeah, so alternator problem or wiring problem to the alternator. I'll see if I can understand the way this alternator is wired real quick, but worst case scenario, I'll leave the charger on it. I'll be able to run it for the day, come pack the tractors and all that stuff. So we'll call that a win at the moment, and probably worst case scenario, it's an alternator. It's not a big deal. So we'll take that as a win. I'm gonna get back over to the noise and get it going. Got it. Good job. 13.5 at idle, that's pretty good. Turns out that the little fuse box right there, that bottom fuse was blown. So, right there, that little guy. I probably can't tell, but that's blown, and it had a spare fuse right in the side of it. So that's good. None of the gauges still work, and we got a natural built-in strobe light today. Let's see if we can catch that. Camera's not catching it quite as good, but that thing is strobing super fast. Thought I was having a seizure for a minute there or something. But yeah, we're charging now. Let's give it some RPMs. Yeah. 14.2, just off idle. We'll take that. I call that a win. Making progress. Today's a good day. And my buddy called and he said he's going to come tomorrow and give us a hand. So, awesome. So, glad I dragged out the generator. Borrowed Colby's battery charger because mine was a few times away. And yeah, get back up and running. Let's get the work done. So now the tractor's up and running again and out of the garage. I'm going to see about drilling a couple of holes, getting a couple of bolts into it, and then see if I'm going to get out the welder and weld up one of the really nasty booger welds that's on it that's cracked 3/4 of the way through. I really should do it. Don't know if I'm in the mood to do it, but I'll try and talk myself into it. So I'll show you the nasty booger weld to start with, so you can't judge my crappy weld with my 110 flux core welder I just bought at Harbor Freight the other day. After it's done, if I do weld it. But I'll show you where there should be bolts, I'd imagine, and there aren't any bolts. So we're going to drill and put a couple of bolts. I keep saying me. I'm going to drill and put a couple of bolts in the main cross member. I'll show you where that is. Crazy there's no bolts already. So here we go. So that's a nice factory weld right there. And then you can see this bracket there and that one there, there's no bolts in it. So everything's relying off of these two bolts here in the back with all the force of this whole backhoe smashing around. And you can see this one broke and somebody poked the crap out of it. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. There's a crack all the way up through here up to right there, I think. Okay, you can see the crack right there. And all the way down through the weld, another little spot right there. And same thing, there's no bolts back here to give it some extra like leverage. So I'm gonna at least drill these back areas and get some bolts in them. And then we'll see. I don't have grinding equipment or anything. I do have a wire wheel to clean it up. But if I weld that, I'm just gonna have to boog right over it. So wish me luck with whatever we do. And I got one drill bit I bought at Home Depot on the way here. And let's see what we can do. I got the holes drilled and bolts in it. They're not grade 8 bolts. That's not what Home Depot had. I just needed to get something as a little insurance as of right now. I wasn't sure of the size. I didn't take any measurements yesterday before I went or anything. So I'll replace them with grade 8 bolts now that I know what they are. And I do want to go up one full size from 5/8 to 3/4 to fill the hole in the bracket better. So I'll get the bigger drill bit, the bigger bolts in the right size, and then we'll change it out. But here we are. We got to drill through. There was some space. There was some space right there, so I just stacked some washers, and I found one wrench in the garage. A couple of little tiny little China-mite ones, but this was the only like substantial wrench, and it's the right size. So this one cut modified wrench worked. The one on the other side, and I know I could have put the bolt aiming inwards. The tire can't move and hit them. This is the rear tire. I just didn't want these lines to be chafing on the threaded part of the bolt. And again, they're only temporary till I get the grade 8 ones. I'll drill them to the next size up, put those in. Now let's see if I'm going to actually break out the welder. I don't know. Thinking about it. Working with a no-name brand generator, a Harbor Freight flux core inverter welder, and this is what I'm going over. It's all cracked in there, the whole thing. I just test fired it just to make sure. Yeah, I just did a little test fire just to make sure it wasn't going to blow the circuit breaker on the thing right away. So I'm going to see if this thing will stitch it back together. I don't know. It's pretty heavy weld for a tiny little machine on 110 out of a like off-brand generator, but we'll give it a go. I'll show you the results in a few. Well, the generator wasn't happy, but it held up. I got it burned in some. It's far better than it was, plus I added 2 bolts that I know ain't grade 8. We'll upgrade to grade 8 afterwards and drill them out a little bigger. But yeah, I'll show you that. And I might tackle welding the bucket while I have the welder out and stuff. So I'll show you that also. The bucket's all busted up. That is absolutely nothing to be proud of. That's just an excuse to say that it's glued together and a little better than it was. But I didn't have any grinders, cut off wheels, or anything like that with me to cut back the boogers I was going over that were all contaminated and stuff in the pits and pores. And I'm working with a 110 flux core welder, so that's as good as it's gonna get for now. Later on, I'll V it out really nice, burn it in with my 220 welder when that's here and when I actually have power on the property. So here's the bucket. That's all broken away. Yeah, so that whole thing right there is all broken. So I may see if I can at least get a couple of tacks on it, and I don't know. I feel bad for the generator. It's not happy, but it's working. So we're gonna keep it working. That's what we do. We just keep working. Well, the buckets are welded together. Well, we'll say it's stuck together. It's not the greatest welds. Like I said, it's definitely not my finest work, by no means. But at least it's not totally flopping around and waiting to totally break off. So here's what was that whole back edge was one thing and broke off. I was going to fill in the little holes in the corners, but water always pools in these things when you park them outside and stuff. So you know what, I'll leave the corners, let it drain out. If it turns into a problem later on, then I'll weld it all up. But that's all set. And that little 110 welder, that thing did pretty good. The little off-brand generator, and then the stack of booger welds back here. I mean, it's way better penetration than it was, but it's ugly. And then we got a couple extra bolts added in. That backhoe should seem a lot less death, or actually be a lot less death, because this side was ready to break off. And when you're pushing down, all this is coming up at you when you're sitting up here in the seat. So that could have got ugly. Glad Colby saw the weld break, or broken, flexing. So that's all welded. A couple extra bolts, and the bucket's welded up, and the alternator's working. Battery's charged. Everything's firing up good. I know the glow plugs are working good. So now that I know battery's fully charged, now it should continue to keep starting. And yeah, that's a couple of good things off the list. I got absolutely no work done on the house. None. But this guy needs to work. So I'm going to wrap up the day with crushing in all the dumpsters and getting all that stuff packed in and whatnot. I think a couple of my buddies are showing up tomorrow again. So we'll probably wrap up emptying the basement and see where we go from there. Still got to get all the fridges out from down there and just a lot of stuff down there. So I'm glad this thing's up and going, because I want to use the backhoe to pull the refrigerators out the bulkhead. There's two of them down there, and then there's some washers and dryers, and I want to just pull those all right out the bulkhead. So it would be nice to strap them up, hook them to the backhoe, and just lift them right out. Save a lot of aggravation. And then all the books that are in there, I'll probably park this right outside the bulkhead, and we'll just start chucking them up, try and get as many into the bucket as possible, and then come dump them, because they're all saturated. So we'd be doing it maybe like a quarter of a trash can at a time, all the way from the basement up through the house, and throwing them up on top of the dumpster. So this guy's going to be valuable tomorrow. So totally worth the effort. And yeah, so I'll give a pan around of the dumpsters again as a little before they smashed in. I know you already saw it the other day. So, but I'll do another one once it's smashed down. Hopefully it'll be dramatic and we have a lot of extra room. But I don't know, sometimes they pack good and they don't crush down much. But some other times you start stuffing it in and the thing's half empty and when you're done. So enough talking. I'm going to get this stuff put away, the generator, the welder, pack up all this stuff, and then I'm going to take the tractor and start smashing away. I'll check in at the end of the day. Thumb was trapped. Can't do it without the thumb. You got to have the thumb. And so ends another fun-filled and exciting day at the house. And pretty much all I did was work on the tractor all day. Got some stuff welded, a couple extra bolts put in, got the problems diagnosed down to a charging problem and whatnot, and then I managed to crush in the dumpsters. So here's the aftermath of crushing in the dumpsters. That thing definitely saves me a bunch of money with the dumpsters for sure, because these were pretty much full. This one right behind me, there was a tiny bit of room at the back, but the rest were overflowing the top. So let's take. So this big void up front, it's all down below it except for that piece of foam that just keeps turning into a spring. Good sized void in the back, but we'll get a lot more in there. And then this one here, all kinds of extra room in this one. All crushed down. I think there's a good void in the front also. Yeah, so we got a lot more left to fit in. So that's good. Progress is progress. And yeah, definitely a bummer I didn't get anything done on the house today, but yeah, got work done. Got stuff done that needed to be done. And met another one of the neighbors. Met a neighbor, Rob, I think. Rob or Bob. I'm bad with names, I'm sorry, brother. I think it's Rob, but he stopped by. Seems like a good guy. He lives right up the street on the same road. So far, a lot of good neighbors. I'm digging it. So I'll check in tomorrow and we'll see what we can get done tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. One other thing was, today I actually stayed reasonably clean at this house. The first time since I bought this property that I was going to leave without being totally dirty. So I was like, oh, I'll stop, somewhere along the way, Chili's or something, and grab dinner on the way home. And the last thing I had to do was use the backhoe and crush in the dumpster. So I positioned the tractor, hop on the back, sit down, totally forgot the back seat doesn't have the vinyl on it, and it's just the foam. And it was totally saturated. So my butt is totally soaked. Pants, thermals, underwear. So I'm probably not going to stop for dinner with a soaking wet butt. But it was going to be a milestone because I managed to stay very reasonably clean today. So tomorrow, where I'm going to be coming and working in the basement and getting totally nasty, I would have reused these work clothes. For the first time on this property, my clothes weren't so bad I wanted to literally burn them off of me so I didn't have to touch them. So that was a bummer. But everything will be okay. There'll be more progress tomorrow. And tomorrow I think at least one of my buddies is coming out. So tomorrow, no matter how dirty we are, clean ourselves up a little bit and we're going to stop and get food on the way back. So tomorrow will be a more productive day. So I'll check in later. Thanks again for watching. You guys are awesome.